Hi there, another how-to video by Dad, also a teacher, except this one's more like a history of the car that's behind us. So in October of 2019, I was cruising through Craigslist, saw this car for sale. I'll show you a couple of photos that came from the original listing, and looked at it. It was there for $1,100, prayed about it, was ready to go, contacted the seller who was selling it for his father, and God says to me, don't go. So I start arguing with God. And again, he says, don't go. And so I continue arguing, and the third time he says, don't go. And I'm thinking, third time, I've heard that before. I'm just going to leave it. So I call the seller up and tell him, prayed about it, not coming, sorry. Well, we go from October into November. It's still there. It's now gone from $1,100 down to $700. So I pray again. Hey, God, what do I do about this? Silence. I get nothing. So I contact Brian this time. Oh, let me go back. In October, I had lined up a truck and a trailer to bring it back, all ready to go, had the appointment ready to go. It was Sunday morning. I was going to go in the afternoon. So I called and canceled everything. Anyway, let's go back to November. It's now $700. I contact the seller again and just say this time, I'm just going to come by myself. Nobody else, just come and take a look at it. Again, silence from God. So I go up there. This is the beginning of Thanksgiving week. And if you hear any weird noises in the background, we have squirrels in the backyard. And our two dogs are totally fascinated by these squirrels. And they're lying down there on the patio. In fact, here, tell you what, I'll turn it around so you can see. The two dogs are lying down there on the patio, watching the squirrels that are up in the tree. The squirrels making all of this noise. All right, back to where we were before. Go to see the car. It's all complete. It's all there. The owner's son tells me that what they're about to do is sell the car to a junkyard and part it out. And I'm thinking, boy, that would be a tragedy if that happens. So I look around. He opens the hood for me, and I see the area over here by the water reservoir for the windshield wipers. It's not there. There's also no battery there. But what I do see there is missing wires, sometimes a foot long. And I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll show you some pictures. Let me put in some pictures right here from the day that I went, took a look at it, what was on the inside, and you can take a look at what I saw that day when I went. So I needed to go to the bathroom. I was getting hungry. I'd been there for a couple hours. The location's about an hour away from our home. And so I went to get some lunch, went to go to the bathroom, got back in the car and prayed and said, God, what do I do about this? And I got the weirdest answer. The answer from God was, my dreams, your dreams matter to me. I thought, wow, that's a strange answer. Is that yes? Is that no? Like, my dreams matter to God? Like, okay, so I called my wife and talked to her about it, and I said, why don't we offer them $500? So I went back and I offered $500. And the owner's son said to me that his dad had told him that since if we were going to put it back on the road, that he would take that. So now we get to Black Friday after Thanksgiving, go up there with a truck and a trailer, loaded on there. I wish I had some video or some pictures from that day. We don't. We come back and it's pouring rain. We manage to push the car all the way back in here underneath where you just saw the dogs, and it sits there covered because we had another car in the garage at the time that I was working on. Because I only started these videos recently. Well, I'll show you some pictures of what we found. We found that little rat, probably the reason why okay, now our dogs are running around on the grass and on the leaves that are down. Okay, now the little one's barking and making quite a bit of noise. You want to see it? I think you probably do. Here's our big dog. Goofy. And yes, she is Goofy. And there's the little one back there. It's just starting to rain. There's the little one back there. And this is one of the trees that the squirrels love. But there's two more. And these trees are all connected. And the squirrels absolutely love running back and forth and back and forth. And the funny thing is, our dogs don't mind the rain if they're chasing the squirrels. All right, back to the cars. All right, enough of the dogs. So we're on the way back, we've got the trailer. It's pouring rain now. And I'm thinking to myself, what have I done? I don't know what to do with wires that are non-existent. A foot of wire that's been chewed through. I don't know how to solder. I don't know what to do with all of this. So again, we brought the car in, put it in the driveway, let it sit here. Yes, hello there. Yeah, here's one of the dogs. Ooh, she's getting a little wet. And Sunday at church, I talked to one of my friends who's an electrical engineer. He says, no problem. You do some work, get a soldering iron, get some solder, put it together, send me some pictures. So I do it the first time. He says, both of my friends, another one who works for a large airline, taking care of the electrical systems, the two of them looked at those pictures and they said, no. So I went back, tried again, brought them the pictures the following Sunday. They both said, no. So this is now December. Tried it again. Came back with the pictures. The two of them said, yes. Now, make sure you put the black shrink plastic on it that's going to keep it together and it's going to make it waterproof. So I go through, take care of all that. We get it all working again. Now we get to January. January, we're actually able to put fresh fuel in it and start it. It starts and it runs. So I decide, before we spend a whole lot more money on this, let's see if it will pass the emissions test. So I take it down the street to the place that we've used for years. He puts it on there. First thing he does is looks at this 1985 380 SE in January of 2020. And he says, somebody's messed with the miles because it was 50,000 miles. And I said to him, no, this has been a Sunday driver and it's also sat for the last 10 years not doing anything. He said, okay. So he runs it through the dyno, does all the emission tests, come back and says, the car passed. That engine's running like a brand new engine. So at that point we decided, okay, this car is worth saving. Let's go on. In February, we put on brand new belts and I fixed some of the window switches. I'll put in some pictures for you to see those. In March, we gave it a power wash. I'll put in some of the before and after pictures there. Remember, this had been sitting on a driveway under trees in the hills of Southern California for 10 years. And it was dirty, even though the owner's son had done as much as he could to clean it off before he put it up for sale. More pictures to follow. In June, we took it to see, will the air conditioning hold a charge? And the answer was no, of course it won't. So here's a picture right here. We had to replace the air conditioning hoses. Oh my gosh, so much trouble, to the point I had to loosen the belts on the air conditioning compressor before I could reattach the new lines that are in there. Took it back and it failed again. It would not hold a charge. The compressor was leaking. So another video later on, I have actually replaced the compressor on this, but I haven't taken it in to see if it will now hold everything and hold a charge. June of 2021, we replaced the fuel pump, the fuel filter, and the fuel accumulator. There's a picture there so you can see that. And we also redid the center drive shaft bearing and the flex disc at the same time on both ends, both the front and the back. There's a picture there for that one. Seeing that, it was already out and it was a lot easier to get to. In November of 2021, the speedometer stopped working. Well, the speedometer it stopped working. The odometer kept going. Looked it up, discovered there are a few plastic gears that are in there. Here's some pictures here. You can see those little plastic gears. Take those out and they just kind of melt and go soft and squishy instead of being hard plastic after 40 years, after all, nearly. Replace those, put it back in, and it's working again. July of 2021. Oops. There's a picture here. See if you can figure out what I did wrong. Yeah, that was a big mistake. That was a bad idea. So, had to go through and fix that. Heard a clunk when I was driving one day. Thankfully, I was driving slowly. Oh my goodness. If I can just say one thing, when you put on new rotors, or when you're reattaching the rotors you've already got on these particular Mercedes, there are bolts that hold it in place. It's not just the bolts from the wheel that do that. You've got separate bolts that hold that in place. You need to Loctite those. I did not Loctite them when I was putting the back on. They managed to work themselves loose. One of them came out and you can see grenaded a huge hole in it. This car is just going to keep going, whatever is going on. We have replaced the air conditioning compressor, and you've seen the video about the water pump. Wow, what a job here. And a little bit later on, or it may have already come out, is we're going to replace the spark plugs. I made a whoops there too. We'll talk about that in the other video. And the spark plug wires and the distributor cap and the rotor. Get all of those, because the ones that are in there, I think might be the ones that came from the factory. Anyway, great to talk to you again. This is another How to by Dad video, and this one was how to tell the story of a car and its history and what's going on. So, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. If you'll take a look at some of these other spots, you'll find some of the other videos that you might be interested in. Thank you very much.